Everyone told me to let go, that she was already gone. But when she squeezed my hand, I knew I wasn't crazy, and I'll never leave her again. My name's Jake. I'm 33. I work nights at a printing warehouse in Columbus. That night I got off early, around 3 a.m. The phone rang while I was driving home, unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I wish I hadn't. It was a nurse. Calm voice, like she'd said this 100 times. "Sir, your wife has been in an accident. You need to come now." I remember the smell of gas station coffee in the cup holder. The way my hands shook so bad I couldn't put the keys back in the ignition the first time. The highway was a blur. I don't remember the drive. Just the ER lights, buzzing like flies over a carcass, and a hallway that felt 5 miles long. She was still warm when I touched her hand. Still had makeup smudged from the dinner party she left. Lipstick barely there. Gold earrings still in. I kept staring at the tiny mole on her collarbone like if I focused hard enough, she'd breathe again. They told me her brain swelled fast. A drunk driver ran a red light. She never even saw it coming. Now she's on life support. Hooked up to machines that beep like a countdown I can't stop. Her chest rises and falls, but the doctors say it's not her anymore. That's the word they keep using, persistent vegetative state. And now her parents want to pull the plug. I said no. I said absolutely not. But her mom looked me in the eye and said, "She wouldn't want this, Jake. You're being selfish." I didn't say it, but in that moment I wanted to scream, "She's my wife. Not yours. You buried her once before, don't do it again." The silence in her hospital room doesn't sound like silence. It has a pulse. A low, constant hum of machines, like breathing through metal lungs. And then the beeping, always the beeping, rhythmic, soft, cruel. Like it's mocking me for hoping. I sit there every day, next to her bed, in that stiff blue chair with the worn armrests and a crack in the cushion that pinches if I shift too much. I hold her hand even though it doesn't hold back. I talk to her even though no one talks back. It's raining today," I say like we're having coffee in the kitchen. "You always hated the rain. Remember our honeymoon? That hurricane in Key West? You swore the universe was testing us." She doesn't flinch. Not even a twitch. I brought her favorite lotion from home, lavender and coconut. I rub it into her arms like maybe, somehow, her skin will remember being loved. That maybe her soul is just lost somewhere deep, and she needs to feel something real to find her way back. But nothing changes. Nurses come and go. They smile at me with pity in their eyes. One of them, Jasmine, leaves extra blankets and never says a word when I stay past visiting hours. She gets it. She knows grief when she sees it. But her parents, they don't come to sit with her. They come to talk to me. They came again on Tuesday. I was watching dust float in the sunbeam slicing across her bed, lost in it, when her father cleared his throat like he owned the room. He had that same cologne, old leather and pine, the one he wore the night he walked them down the aisle. Back then, he cried like he was giving away a piece of himself. Now, he's trying to take her back. "Jake," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder, "you're holding on to a shadow. This isn't what she wanted." I stood up so fast the chair screeched backward. My voice cracked when I said it, because I'm so goddamn tired of hearing that phrase. "You don't get to decide that," I snapped. "You weren't there the night she told me she'd fight to the last breath. You weren't there when she begged me never to leave her." His wife, M's mom, was crying softly behind him. She didn't look at me. Just whispered something about quality of life and letting go with dignity. But they didn't see her last Tuesday, when her eyelid fluttered. Just for a second. A little spasm. The doctors brushed it off, said it was a reflex. But I saw it. I felt it. And I won't let them turn that into a funeral. I went home that night and sat on the floor in our hallway. Couldn't bring myself to walk into our bedroom. Everything in there is still hers. Her slippers by the bed. Her hairbrush with a few strands still clinging to the bristles. Her scarf hanging from the hook like she might still need it. The smell of her perfume still lingers, vanilla and something floral. It hit me so hard I dropped to my knees and pressed my face into her pillow like a child. I just wanted to feel her again. Even if it meant breaking. And then I saw it. Tucked in her jewelry box, under a mess of tangled necklaces and old movie tickets, was a tiny folded note. My name written on the outside in her handwriting. It wasn't anything grand. Just a scrap of a moment. A memory. Jake, if anything ever happens to me, don't let the doctors rush you. I believe in you. You know me better than anyone else. Please, don't give up. Love, M. I cried so hard my ribs hurt. I've read that note 100 times now. It's in my wallet. Like armor. The next morning, I went back to the hospital with black circles under my eyes and a coffee I didn't drink. I walked past her parents without a word. Sat by her side. Pressed my lips to her forehead and whispered, "I'm still here, baby. And I'll keep showing up. Even if no one else does." I used to think the worst part was the accident. The sirens. The blood. The sterile walls of the ICU. But it's not. The worst part is after, when the world doesn't stop with you. When everyone around you starts moving on like your wife isn't lying between life and death in a hospital bed. Like she's just a chapter they've already turned the page on. Her parents don't talk about her in present tense anymore. Last week, her mom brought in a priest. Didn't ask me. Just showed up with him, like she was preparing a room for a ghost to leave. I walked in to see him standing over M's bed, murmuring something I couldn't hear, holding a vial of oil. I lost it. "What the hell is this?" I said, voice sharp enough to crack glass. Her mom jumped. The priest just looked at me with practiced calm. Like he deals with people like me all the time, the ones who aren't ready. "We're giving her peace," she said. "You don't have to stay if it's too much." I stood my ground. Didn't blink. "She's not gone. Don't you dare talk about her like she is." And then she said it. The thing that cracked something inside me. "She's already gone, Jake. You're just keeping her body warm." That night, I drank. Hard. I hadn't touched alcohol in years. Not since I lost my brother to a DUI when we were kids. But I found a bottle of whiskey in the cabinet, the one M bought for our anniversary and said we'd open on some huge moment in life. I guess death's shadow counts. I sat in the dark kitchen, bottle sweating on the table, staring at her contacts saved in my phone. Emily. I still send her texts sometimes, like a lunatic. Still here. Still fighting. I love you. Please come back to me. Send. I drank until the bottle was light. Until the house tilted a little and her voice started playing in my head again, soft and clear, like it used to when she called me from the grocery store to ask if we needed more eggs. I saw her everywhere that night. In the hallway mirror, just the shape of her. On the couch, curled up in that hoodie she always stole from me. On the porch, smiling at the rain she used to hate. I think part of me broke. Or maybe the cracks just finally reached the surface. The next morning, I woke up with my face stuck to the table and my phone buzzing beside me. Unknown number. Voicemail. I played it. The voice was calm. Female. Clinical. "This is Dr. Kramer calling regarding Emily Williams. We've scheduled the ethics board meeting to determine medical consent for Friday at 11 a.m. Your presence is optional." Optional. Like I'm not even her husband anymore. Like I'm just a spectator. That word lit something inside me I didn't know I had left. A raw, searing fury that pushed me upright, hungover or not. I went to the hospital an hour later, stormed into the nurse's station, and demanded to speak to Dr. Kramer. When they stalled, I raised my voice. Loud. Public. Made a scene. She's my wife. You don't schedule meetings about her without me. Security came. I didn't care. I just kept yelling. She's not dead. She's not dead. That night, Jasmine, the nurse who always leaves extra blankets, found me in the waiting room, curled up in that same blue chair, trying not to cry loud enough to disturb anyone. She sat next to me and whispered, "You're not crazy, Jake. Grief does this. Love does this." I nodded, but I didn't believe her. Because deep down, something ugly was growing in me. Doubt. What if they're right? What if I'm just some fool clinging to skin and wires and a heartbeat on a screen? What if I'm keeping her here for me? What if the loving thing is letting go? I looked at her that night, really looked. Her face thinner. Muscles softer. A machine breathing for her. Tubes like ivy snaking from her arms. She looked like a girl frozen in time. A painting. Still beautiful, but still. And then, something happened. Her hand jerked. A tiny movement. Fingers twitched like a reflex. I jumped up, heart pounding. I whispered. Nothing. I buzzed the nurse. They checked vitals. Same speech as before, involuntary spasms, not cognitive. But I saw it. It was different this time. And something in me cracked again, but not from grief. From hope. The dangerous kind. Because now I can't sleep. Can't eat. Can't breathe right unless I'm in that room. Because if there's even a 1% chance she's still in there, still fighting, then pulling that plug would be the same as murder. And I don't care what her parents, the doctors, or the damn ethics board says. They can't take her from me. Not again. The day of the ethics board meeting, I wore the shirt Emily gave me on our first anniversary, navy blue, a little too tight now, sleeves rolled up at the elbows. She always said it made my eyes look kinder. I didn't feel kind that day. I felt like a man dragging his heart into a courtroom with no jury, just executioners. The hospital conference room was cold. Sterile. 6 people sat behind a long table, doctors, administrators, one hospital lawyer. Her parents were already there. Her mom clutched a tissue in both hands like it was the only thing holding her together. Her dad wouldn't look at me. I sat across from them, knees shaking under the table. "Mr. Williams," one of the board members began, "we're here to discuss the continuation of life-sustaining treatment for your wife, Emily. Her medical proxy is in dispute." Dispute. As if love can be disputed. As if my marriage was just paperwork to be reviewed. Her father spoke first. Calm, rehearsed. "My daughter was full of life. She was strong. If she knew she'd end up like this shell, she would never want to stay this way. She told us that years ago, after her aunt passed the same way." I looked at him, eyes burning. "With all due respect, you weren't there when she made me promise I'd never leave her. You didn't hear her whisper to me, when she was scared about having kids, that she trusted me to carry her if she couldn't walk." I pulled the folded note from my wallet, my hands trembling. Opened it slowly like it was something sacred. "She wrote this," I said, voice thick. "It's not notarized, no. But it's real. It's her. Read it." No one reached for it. So I read it myself. "Jake, if anything ever happens to me, don't let the doctors rush you. I believe in you. You know me better than anyone else. Please, don't give up. Love, M." I looked around the room. No one spoke. Just the hum of the AC. Her mom sniffled. She twitched the other night, I said quietly. Her fingers moved. It wasn't nothing. I felt it. I know her. I know when she's there. One of the doctors finally spoke. We've seen no signs of brain activity consistent with recovery. We understand your grief, Mr. Williams. You don't, I cut in. You don't understand it. I'm not grieving a memory. I'm grieving someone still breathing. Do you have any idea what that does to a person? The lawyer leaned forward. If the board rules in favor of her parents, you may have limited legal recourse. So that's it? I said. We vote on whether a woman lives or dies, and I just have to sit here and accept it. No one answered. I stood up. Heart pounding. My palms left sweat prints on the table. I'm not giving up on her, I said, my voice low, shaking. Even if all of you do. And then I left. I didn't wait for their vote. I drove straight to the hospital room. Took her hand in mine. Rested my forehead against it. And whispered, if you're in there, if there's anything left of you, I need you to fight. Because if I lose her now, if I let them take her, I'll never forgive myself. Not for the silence. Not for the stillness. Not for walking out of that room alone. It's been 5 days since the meeting. No one's called me. No updates. No verdict. No visitors. Just this crushing quiet, like the world made good on its threat and left me behind. I still go to her room every day. Morning and night. Same blue chair. Same hum of machines. I read to her now, books she used to love, pages I don't understand anymore because I'm just scanning lines with dead eyes, hoping the sound of my voice reaches somewhere deeper than her coma. I brought her our wedding album yesterday. Propped it open on her tray table. Her smile in those photos nearly destroyed me. Her eyes were alive. Mischievous. The way she looked at me like we had all the time in the world. I held her hand and said, look how beautiful you are, Em. You wore that ridiculous hairpin with the stars on it and said you felt like the moon. No response. Just the faint beep. 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 I know every corner of that hospital now. Every creaky floor tile. Every vending machine with stale granola bars and coffee that tastes like regret. People stopped acknowledging me. The nurses still nod politely, but they've stopped making small talk. I hear their voices behind curtains when I walk in, he's still here. Yeah, every day. Poor guy. I'm not, poor guy. I'm her husband. But no one says that anymore. I don't answer texts. Friends stopped asking. I get the occasional, thinking of you, message, but they've all gone back to their lives. Who could blame them? No one wants to orbit around grief. It stains everything. The worst part. Her smell is fading from our house. The pillowcase doesn't carry her anymore. The scarf she left on the hook just smells like dust now. I tried spraying her perfume the other night, hoping it would conjure something, some memory, some presence, but it felt fake. Like dressing a mannequin. I sat on the floor in the hallway afterward. Cold wood pressing into my back. I stayed there for hours, phone in my lap, staring at our wedding video on mute. Watching her laugh in slow motion. Watching me laugh. That man looks like someone I used to know. I'm not him anymore. I barely eat. Just whatever I can microwave. Cereal if I remember. Sleep comes in hour-long chunks, dreamless and dark. I wake up gasping sometimes, thinking I missed her waking up. That she opened her eyes and I wasn't there. So I keep going back. Just in case. Just in case that flicker in her fingers wasn't a reflex. Just in case the note in my wallet still means something. Just in case the love we built over 10 years is strong enough to pull her back from wherever she is. But the walls are closing in. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm the only one left in this fight. The doctors won't meet my eyes anymore. Her parents stopped calling. Even Jasmine, gentle, kind Jasmine, told me this morning, "Jake, you look like you're falling apart." Maybe I am. But what's the alternative? Let go. Pull the plug. Turn my back on the woman who made me believe in something bigger than myself? No. I sit by her bed, both hands around hers, forehead against the sheets. I whisper, "If you don't come back soon, I don't know if I'll survive this. Because I'm not sure I'm saving her anymore. Maybe I'm just trying not to drown alone." The call came at 7:12 a.m. I was already awake. Sitting on the floor of our bedroom, knees to my chest, watching the morning light creep up the walls like it was afraid to touch anything. "Mr. Williams, this is Dr. Kramer. The board has come to a decision. Emily's parents have been granted authority to withdraw life support. The process is scheduled for tomorrow at noon." I didn't speak. Didn't breathe. Just stared at the wall as something inside me cracked like frozen glass. Tomorrow. At noon. Like it was an appointment. Like they were canceling a subscription. I didn't say thank you. I didn't say anything. I just hung up. And then I tore the bedroom apart. The photo frame on her nightstand hit the wall first. Glass shattered across the floor like her memory didn't belong in a frame anymore. I pulled her sweater from the closet and screamed into it until my voice broke. Her dresser drawer, ripped open, contents dumped. Makeup brushes, old concert tickets, a pair of her socks I hadn't seen in months. I punched the door. Left a dent. Didn't care. Because how the hell could they do this? How could a room full of strangers and a couple who hadn't sat by her bed in weeks decide to end her? While I'm here. Every damn day. Begging. Hoping. Who gives up on their child like that? Who gives up on their wife? I drove to the hospital like a madman. Ran 3 red lights. I didn't care if I crashed. Let me bleed if it meant getting there faster. I burst into her room out of breath, shaking, eyes burning. And when I saw her, still there, still breathing, still mine, I broke all over again. I fell to my knees beside her and grabbed her hand. Held it so tight I thought I'd bruise her. "They're gonna take you away," I whispered, voice cracking. "They think you're gone. But I know you. I know you're still in there." I pulled out the note again. It was smudged, the edges worn soft. I pressed it to her chest. "I found this. You left it for me. You told me not to give up. A nurse came in. Tried to tell me visiting hours weren't for another hour. I didn't even look at her. I said, I'm not leaving this room. Not today. Not tomorrow. If they want to shut off those machines, they'll have to do it while I'm here. While I'm holding her hand. While I'm still fighting." The nurse backed out slowly. Maybe she saw something in my face. I spent the rest of the day by her side. I talked to her about everything. Our favorite pizza place. The cat we almost adopted. The weird mole on my back she always joked about. I cried. Laughed once. Cried harder. And then, just after sunset, when the hallway lights dimmed and the world outside the window turned gold, her hand moved again. But this time, it wasn't just a twitch. Her fingers curled around mine. Barely. Weak. But real. I froze. I whispered, voice barely audible. Her eyelid fluttered. Just once. I stumbled into the hallway, yelling for anyone, everyone. Nurses rushed in. Machines beeped louder. The monitor lit up with new readings. Doctors poured into the room like I'd summoned them from the dead. They started tests, flashing lights in her eyes, calling her name. One of them turned to me, stunned. "There's response." Minimal, but, she's in there. I stood in the doorway, trembling, heart racing so loud I could barely hear. She came back. Even if it's just a little. She came back. And I'll be damned if I ever leave her side again. It's been 3 weeks since she squeezed my hand. 3 weeks of cautious hope. Of whispered prayers and sleepless nights. Of learning that recovery isn't a miracle, it's 1,000 tiny moments strung together, like beads on a thread made of pure will. Emily hasn't woken up completely. Not yet. But every day, she gives me a little more. A flicker in her eyelids. A tremble in her lips when I read her old texts aloud. One time, when I played our wedding song on my phone, her heart rate ticked up like she knew. The doctors can't explain it. They don't call it recovery yet. But they've stopped saying, vegetative. They've stopped saying, never. And her parents? They haven't said a word to me since that day. They didn't come when she moved her fingers. They weren't there when the neurologist said the word, hopeful. I think, maybe, they're ashamed. Or maybe afraid to believe again. I don't blame them. People handle pain in different ways. Some light candles. Some walk away. But I stayed. I stay. Every single day. And now, the hospital staff nod when I walk by. Jasmine brings me extra pillows without asking. They moved her into a private room, quieter, with soft yellow walls instead of white. There's a little vase of daisies on the windowsill. I bring fresh ones every 3 days. The other day, I held her hand and asked, "You remember our first apartment? The one with the broken heater and the raccoon that lived in the dumpster?" Her mouth twitched. Almost a smile. I felt it like sunlight. When I talk now, it's not desperate anymore. It's gentle. Like laying breadcrumbs back to the world. I read her the note she wrote me every morning. "Please, don't give up." I didn't. And I won't. Sometimes I lay my head beside her arm and just breathe. In. Out. With her. Not in fear anymore, but in rhythm. A few days ago, I whispered, "When you wake up, we're going to drive straight to the ocean. Doesn't matter which one. Just you and me and a beat-up rental car and miles of road. I'll even let you control the playlist." Her fingers twitched again. That's all I need. That's enough to believe. I don't know if she'll ever walk again. Or talk the way she used to. I don't know if she'll remember me fully, or just in pieces. But I'll take pieces. I'll take anything. Because love isn't perfect vows or perfect health. It's this. Sitting beside someone when they can't speak. Reading the same stories over and over because it calms her. Staying up at 3 a.m. just to watch the rise and fall of her chest. It's quiet. It's painful. It's real. And it's ours. The woman I love is still here. And I'm not leaving.